broadcasting from the Unshackled studios in Melbourne. This is WilmsFront, brought to you by the Unshackled.net. Now here's Tim Wilms.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first WilmsFront Snapshot News Weekly show, coming to you on this Monday, the 27th of October, 2025. It is 8:30 p.m. here in Melbourne, Victoria. We are live on the WilmsFront YouTube channel, the WilmsFront Rumble channel, and on my WilmsFront X account. Now, as I mentioned at the end of Friday night's WilmsFront featured interview program with John Adams, that I would be rolling the snapshot news report formats into regular WilmsFront episodes starting tonight, but in a more freelance but still factual style. This, of course, was based on audience feedback, and I will interact with the audience tonight. But this is not going to be a resurrected Tim's News explosion. I won't try to cover everything in a week, but I will focus on 5 to 6 topics. So let's get right into tonight.
This is WilmsFront, brought to you by the Unshackled.net.
So, Broadmeadows in Melbourne's north has become the epicentre of the city's machete duels. There has been 3 in Broadmeadows in 1 week, 4 this month. And now, for those of you who are not from Melbourne, the demographics of Broadmeadows, it's a very Middle Eastern area. So there's a heavy Arabic, Turkish, and Persian speaking population there. It's had a reputation for quite a number of years, Broadmeadows, as a rough suburb. That's where Eddie Maguire grew up, and it was interesting today that he's also added his voice to the fact that, well, he's just stating reality, that Melbourne is in a crime crisis. The machete bins aren't working, like the Premier Jacinta Allen says, and so she still maintains that the CBD is safe, her machete bins are working. So as I mentioned about the demographics of Broadmeadows, or as Broady, as Eddie Maguire calls it, interesting fact, his brother, Frank Maguire, was the member for Broadmeadows for Labor Party for many years until he was shafted as part of a purge of the Labor right. So the 2 machete attacks that occurred on the weekend, Friday and Saturday night, occurred at the Rugby League Harmony Cup. And the suspects, whoever they are, still remain at large. This was 7 News last night, including the Premier's response.
Screams on a Broadmeadows street. Where at 9:30 last night, a teenager was stabbed during a wild machete brawl.
Police located a 19-year-old male with serious stab wounds to his torso.
Just metres from the Harmony Cup Rugby League Carnival, where 24 hours earlier, innocent families were subject to more machete madness.
It was a bit scary, seeing a lot of kids running around screaming.
Police are now investigating whether these thugs were involved in this stabbing attack. Yesterday, police increased their presence, still not enough to deter the armed thugs.
I consider it appalling.
And now, the third machete ordeal in Broadmeadows in just 4 days.
The ban on machetes and the handing in of machetes is working.
No, it's not working. No, it's not working at all. Oh, she needs to come down to Harmony Cut and she'll see for herself.
Police are also investigating whether those involved in the machete attack had attended the event last night, but so far the 19-year-old victim hasn't been cooperating with detectives.
It's scary, so it could happen to me, it could happen to my children.
The people that are just trying to go about an event in their community who want to feel safe. They don't want to experience this. They no doubt feeling now in fear.
While those responsible are tonight on the run.
So last Wednesday at the Broadmeadows railway station, there was a fight between two rival groups, though the weapon investigators allege was a screwdriver, not a machete. So maybe we need screwdriver amnesty bins. So two teens ended in hospital with stab wounds. Police have now arrested 4 youths. Well, one is 19. There was a 17-year-old who was arrested and charged at the scene. And so three further arrests have been made of a 16 and 2 17-year-old boys. Actually, the 19-year-old was arrested without charge, but the 4 under 18 youths who have been arrested and charged, you guessed it, they were all bailed when they appeared before court. And now because they are under 18s, they appear at the Children's Court. Now, you will remember last weekend there was the machete drive-by attack at St Kilda's iconic Luna Park. So police ended up arresting 3 young men. They were over 18. And they were all bailed. So one of them, Abbas Mazari, 19. So Victoria Police suspect that he is one of those who took part in the machete fight at the Broadmeadows Shopping Centre back on October 10. And his 2 co-accused, brothers Muhammad and Abdurrahman Khan, they were also given bail as well. Now, police opposed giving bail to Abbas Mazari, said that he had put a machete to the face of a woman and demanded she call her brother as recently as 2 weeks ago when he was served with a personal safety intervention order over the incident, which he was prohibited from going near the woman. He laughed and giggled. Now, the magistrate who granted him bail, it was a woman. They always seem to be women, Felicity Broughton. So while acknowledging the allegations extremely serious and it involved the use of a machete at Luna Park where families and children come together, she still granted him bail and said, you need to grow up fast and have a bit of insight. He's an adult. He's not a child. And she vowed, get picked up again, you won't be getting bail. Well, let's see. And she'd earlier given him a lecture about his family would be distressed seeing him from the dock because his parents had hopes for him to have a better life when they migrated from war-torn Iran when he was just 5. When making her decision, Miss Spencer noted public act of violence like that at Luna Park made the community feel scared to go out. Yet she granted him bail. You sometimes wonder, these magistrates and judges, they live in an ivory tower. Like, would they feel differently if one of them or one of their friends was paralyzed with fear because of a machete attack when they went to the shops? Or maybe these magistrates and judges just do home delivery, don't even go shopping. So that is from the weekend here in Melbourne. There is no sign of the machetes disappearing from the streets of Melbourne, though the amnesty does run until November 30. So there's still time after they've hacked some people for these machete-wielding thugs to drop them off. The Broadmeadows Central, where the first Broadmeadows machete fight happened, it's only 500 metres away from the Broadmeadows police station where the machete bin is. Obviously, they've been very busy this month, it would seem, the Broadmeadows police station.
This is WilmsFront, brought to you by the Unshackled.net.
Parliament is sitting this week without Prime Minister in the House. Airbus Albo is now at the ASEAN summit in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. ASEAN stands for Associations of Southeast Asian Nations. His new mate, Donald Trump, is there as well. Obviously, Anthony Albanese is still on a high from his meeting with Donald Trump at the Cabinet Room in the White House. So he got off his VIP jet in the plain T-shirt of the band Joy Division, which is obviously Albanese's prime ministership. He's got a lot of joy from dividing Australians. So he had a brief stop over here to commemorate the 40th anniversary of Bob Hawke giving away Uluru. So now no Australians can climb or go near Uluru because apparently it now has cultural significance, even though all of these climbing bans are just all about punishing whitey. So Anthony Albanese, he had meetings with the new Japanese Prime Minister, Sane Takachi, who is very pro-Western. So she wants closer ties with the United States. She said her political idol is Margaret Thatcher. She is, I have to say, as ugly as Margaret Thatcher, obviously the Iron Lady. She was, she was, as a politician, very attractive, just not in the physical sense, is what I'm getting at there. Also, had a more tense meeting with Chinese Premier Lang Quang as they have been at it again. The People's Liberation Army, the Chinese Navy, by another laser shooting episode in the South China Sea. Obviously, the highlight of Anthony Albanese's meeting with Donald Trump last week was the signing of the critical minerals deal to counter China's stranglehold on the market. But obviously, we've got so much in the ground. But the thing is that Australia, to properly or extract the benefit of these critical minerals, is to process them in Australia, which causes a lot of pollution and waste, which of course gets the environmentalists and Greens upset. They don't tend to care that there's all this pollution happening in China, just as long as though it doesn't happen in Australia. The same with the logging of old growth forests. As long as it doesn't happen here in Australia, it can happen elsewhere in Asia. So this is where the crux of it is. Interesting that the Labor government state minister Lily Ambrosio has approved a critical minerals mine in the West. Now, Anthony Albanese talking up critical minerals, backing Australia. So he got some good PR on the front of the News Corp Sunday tabloids about backing Australian manufacturing, buying Australia, by which, of course, was written by his best mate at News Corp, Joe Hildebrand, who's always defending him on those Sky News panel shows. So while Albo's gone off again, he's left his new Environment Minister, Murray Watt, to announce the new environmental protection laws, which apparently will streamline approvals. It'll make it so even though in one side of their mouth they're saying that it'll protect the environment, it'll make it streamline it easier to approve these critical mineral mines, which the Greens and the environmentalists don't like. Make it make sense. And so the coalition have said that they're going to oppose these environmental protection laws. They haven't really made the pitch for why we need even more laws. And, well, the Greens, Larissa Waters, I mean, she's all over the place as well, a bit like Susan Ley as the new Greens leader, replacing a man who lost his seat as well in Adam Bant. So there's a long way to go for Australia to, well, it's one thing to sign a critical minerals agreement, now actually follow through and dig them out of the ground. And now, of course, it wasn't all smooth at the meeting at the White House with Albo, because Kevin Rudd, the ambassador, got a serve when Andrew Clonelg asked him about what Rudd had said about him in the past, which is they'd called him the village idiot, a traitor to the West, amongst other things. And now, once all the cameras had left, Trump had apparently told Rudd after he apologized again, all is forgiven, although when he was asked by a Sydney Morning Herald journalist when he was about to board a plane, he seemed to forget who Rudd was, and he gave this reminder. Forgive, but don't forget. I certainly think that's the way to go. Forgive and forgetting, that's just means that you just turn a blind eye to wrong everywhere. And now, Donald Trump, it might take him a lot longer to forgive Canada. Now, Doug Ford, the progressive conservative premier, as they say it in Canada, Doug Ford, decided to spend $75 million, I think that's US, of Canadian taxpayer dollars on free trade ads in the United States, quoting Ronald Reagan from a speech he gave in 1987 talking about the benefits of free trade. Well, Trump, he is not happy about that. Reagan's foundation has said that his speeches were taken out of context. He didn't support unilateral, total free trade. And so Donald Trump, being the art of the deal, he just said the tariff just got 10% more. And Doug Ford has withdrawn the ads. So he's just wasted a whole bunch of money, and he's got Canada an extra 10% tariff. He also, when the tariffs were first imposed on Canada, he announced that he was basically having a whole bunch of trade sanctions, banning a lot of US companies from bidding for government contracts. And now remember, Doug Ford's from the alleged Conservative Party. They in Ontario, they call it the Progressive Conservative Party. We find that a bit oxymoron. They're called different things in various provinces in Canada. So in Alberta, it's called the United Conservative Party.
This is WilmsFront, brought to you by the Unshackled.net.
Now, turning back domestically, the reason why Airbus Albo can just stop in at Uluru and commemorate the giveaway and then fly off again is because he literally has no opposition. They are opposing themselves more than they are opposing the Albanese government. And of course, with a sitting week, the main talk in the Canberra bubble is, will he or won't he, Barnaby Joyce, join? Well, it's not Pauline Hanson's One Nation anymore. It was just announced that there's going to be a name change today to One Nation. So it leaked not this last Friday night, but the previous Friday night, that Barnaby Joyce was in advanced talks to join One Nation. Then the next day, he said that he wouldn't recontest his electorate of New England for the New South Wales National Party, but hadn't made a decision on his future. He said that the most important issue for him was opposing net zero. But what has happened since then, and I don't think it's done Barnaby any favors, he's just come across as an attention-seeking narcissist, done all of these interviews on various TV and radio talking about basically refuting all of these hypotheticals, even though he's the one that's left the door open. And it makes him just look completely narcissistic, like he has relevance deprivation syndrome. And they appear together, Barnaby Joyce and Pauline Hanson, on The World According to Rowan Dean on Sky News on Friday night. So they're still not... Barnaby Joyce is not part of One Nation. Pauline Hanson said he's not going to succeed me as leader. She wants to run again for another 6 year Senate term in Queensland in 2028. And there's obviously a potential future leader of the party is Lee Hanson, who will be running in 2028 for the Senate in Tasmania, who should win, given that the Jackie Lambie network has collapsed. Of course, in the recent polling, One Nation has surged about 12 to 14%, while the coalition is sitting at 27, 28%. It's interesting that One Nation, it is actually more popular among women than men, which I guess proves having a female leader can attract female voters, though it is certainly not working for Susan Ley. Well, maybe that's because she is viewed like she is in many as Malcolm Turnbull in a skirt, and she's lost two shadow ministers in Jacinta Price and Andrew Hastie, and there is going to be the coalition a net zero party room showdown on Friday, where she could go the same way as Malcolm Turnbull. In obviously, he lost the Liberal leadership twice, first as opposition leader and second as prime minister on climate reduction policies. And Susan Ley could lose it here. But whoever does succeed her, Andrew Hastie sort of is, well, after going to the backbench, he's taken a back seat where you haven't really heard much from him, though he did make a social media post today saying that ADF troops should not be deployed to be peacekeepers in Palestine, which I would concur with him. So who would, if Susan Ley gets rolled, would it be Angus Taylor again? Remember, he has his own baggage as well. Could there be a compromise candidate in Tim Wilson who can appeal to both the moderates and the conservative warriors? Who knows? But going back to the Albanese government's environmental protection laws, in the previous parliament, they were called nature positive laws when Tanya Plibersek was environment minister, and they got junked before the WA and federal elections because Albanese knew they were going to be a vote loser, as did WA Premier Roger Cook. Whether this could be Anthony Albanese's carbon emissions reduction scheme moment when Kevin Rudd he couldn't get either the coalition or the Greens on board, and so junked it, and then that was the beginning of the end of his prime ministership, though Anthony Albanese didn't go as hard as isn't going to go as hard as Kevin Rudd with the environmental laws. Remember Kevin Rudd saying climate change is the great moral challenge of our generation. So even though there's not much happening in Parliament this week until the coalition party room showdown, well, certainly not much happening on the Albanese government side. There could be some spice going towards the end of the year, which is the parliamentary killing season, and into the new year. Susan Ley, we know that she won't make it to the next election. I mean, another thing she was when Trump said about Kevin Rudd, "I don't like you and probably never will," she said his position was untenable. But then you had Jane Hume, who was dumped from the front bench by Susan Ley, saying it was churlish to call for the dumping of Kevin Rudd. Andrew Hastie, I don't think he used the word churlish, but said, no, he shouldn't be dumped as ambassador. And James Patterson, who is on the front bench, said he shouldn't be dumped. And so she was made to look a right fool, not being backed up by her front bench and even one of her front benchers. And there was also another disgruntled backbencher who was dumped by Susan Ley after the election. Another Victorian female senator, Sarah Henderson, alleged that Richard Marles, the defence minister, and the trade minister Don Farrell discussed recalling Kevin Rudd after Trump won the election and replacing him with Stephen Conroy. And Stephen Conroy was on the Bolt Report tonight and was laughing at that and said, hand on my heart, nobody approached me, and I've said worse about Donald Trump, so it wouldn't work for me as well. So that she said she got it from a reliable source, Sarah Henderson. Hopefully that's not some ABC journalism gone awry from Sarah Henderson there. But so far it hasn't been corroborated.
This is WilmsFront, brought to you by the Unshackled.net.
Now, in some good news, Julie Inman Grant, the e-safety commissioner, Karen, she has said last week when she was interviewed by Patricia Karvelis on the ABC's afternoon briefing that she wouldn't be seeking another 5-year term as e-safety commissioner when it expires in 2027. She was appointed by Malcolm Turnbull as Prime Minister in 2017, and Scott Morrison extended it for another 5 years. She's now had her budget quadrupled. She's blaming not seeking another term on a Nazi trolls doxing her.
Now, you've got about a year left, I think, on your contract in this role. I'm just intrigued because I know it's been such a sort of intense role to be playing, especially with big change, whether you're up for doing it again. Have you thought about it?
No, I think if I make it to 10 years, that's a pretty good run. I think it'll be time for someone else to take the reins. As you said, it's a very bruising role. I mean, I've just been doxed again on Telegram by Australian neo-Nazis to a UK-based neo-Nazi group. So when it puts yourself, but mostly your family and your kids in jeopardy, it does make you take a step back.
So that's it for you after this term is over. But it doesn't sound like an appealing role for anyone, the way you describe it. I mean, I don't know if you have not sold it to me. It does not sound, if you're being doxxed like that and you feel like your family's under threat, that sounds like a pretty difficult job to do.
It's a difficult job, but it's also a privilege and an honor. I think we've made a real difference in young Australians' lives in particular. We've made a difference. This is what I'm hearing from the European Union, from the Canadians, from everyone else, that we've set a standard in Australia, and I think that's precisely what the social media minimum age bill does. I really want to be able to roll this out successfully for the government, but also get better outcomes for our kids. The changes here will be generational and it will be longer term. But again, it's been an honor to do it. I know that not everyone's going to be happy. You're either doing too much or you're not doing enough. So in that way, it may be a little bit thankless. So it does require quite a bit of resilience and vision. And so here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Julie Inman Grant, thank you.
Obviously, I want no harm to come to Julie Inman Grant. I just hope that once she's finished her term, as she goes back to the United States, she might get some global e-safety role in the World Economic Forum or something like that. Now, we do have Halloween this Friday night, so a good scary Halloween costume might be dressing up as Karen. Obviously because, well, it is censorship, it is menacing. Now, Karen, it was revealed last week that she wrote to the Shadow Communications Minister, Melissa McIntosh, asking her, trying to discourage her from calling for an inquiry into her extensive powers. And so they sent her a 5-page letter, which was basically saying, in regards to your press releases, oh, you don't need to do that. They just come around with your staff to my office and we can have a cup of tea and discuss your concerns. And I'll be happy to provide you and put your concerns at ease. I'm paraphrasing the 5 pages. That was basically it. Oh, let's not have this public inquiry. Let's just, you and I just have a meeting and just to chat with your staff, and I can put your mind at ease. So that was how she tried to sell it to Melissa McIntosh, but I don't know who leaked it, whether it was her. Journalists obviously don't reveal their sources, but it just shows how you saw in that interview with Patricia Carvelis, how she tries to deflect criticism by saying, I'm being doxxed, I'm being threatened. It's a common tactic by, I think, the Sex Discrimination Commissioner in the Saturday paper this week, Anna Cody. She did the same thing, saying, I've been getting threats for standing up for women and transgenders, even though many would say that you can't lobby for both. That's an oxymoron.
This is WilmsFront, brought to you by the Unshackled.net.
Let's go over to Britain, or as Katie Hopkins calls it, batshit bonkers Britain, where Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, in his bid to become even more unpopular and hated, he's already the most unpopular and hated PM in polling history. He is doubling down on his compulsory mandatory digital ID, the Brit card. So you can see in the right corner here, the example Brit card, James Williams. It says that he is permanent, a right to work and right to rent. And now he posted and it's very hard at the moment on Keir Starmer's X feed to work out what you sometimes wonder if you're on the Parody PM's account, the way that he's selling digital ID. Now, this is an actual clip that he posted to his social media. It's not AI. It's him at a Barclays bank selling the benefits of digital ID and chatting with some ordinary Brits who would welcome it.
So I'm in Brighton today. This is Barclays Bank, and I've been talking to customers about digital ID, and they're really enthusiastic. It'll have your basic information on it. For everything other than proving you've got a right to work, it won't be mandatory. You don't have to have it, but you can have it. You can use it for anything that requires identification, and there are lots of things. If you want to rent, for example, if you want to apply for a mortgage, if you want to get your child into primary school, there's a catchment area, and you've got to show where you live, proving who you are, what your date of birth is, will just be able to be done with digital ID. They're really up for it, and I think once you understand just how much easier it'll make life, so many more people will be too.
Now, you notice in this Brit card above that James Williams, the sort of John Citizen, is a black man. And this is increasingly, I wouldn't say increasingly, it's exponentially growing the overrepresentation of black, brown, and Asian people in British advertisements. And Reform MP Sarah Pokin, in response to a caller to Talk TV, went on a rant at just how much these ads annoy her now.
Field this one, but I think it's creepingly important. Would Reform do anything to look at the representation of the demographics of TV and public advertising? Because we're getting to the point now where adverts don't represent what this country looks like, and actually positive demonisation of white people, just portrayed as criminals or inadequate when they're not portrayed anywhere else. Now, the reason why this is important, we got a case of art imitates life, because we're getting to the point where a number of my friends think that we're being discriminated like in employment markets because white men are seen as useless and whatever and just invisible. And there's one financial institution which coincidentally uses a strikingly similar image of Nigel in their advertising for an incompetent, useless, arrogant white male. I just wondered if that's something we thought would look into.
Okay, Stuart, stay where you are. Sarah, what do you think of what Stuart's saying? What would Reform UK do about it, if anything?
I think Stuart's absolutely right. Drives me mad when I see adverts full of black people, full of Asian people, full of, you know, people that basically are anything.
What's wrong with that, Sarah?
White.
What's wrong with that?
Well, it doesn't reflect our society, and I feel that you know, your average white person, average white family is, like, I agree with you, Stuart, not represented anymore in TV.
There are lots of white people on television, Sarah, are there not? There are lots of white people. There are lots of white men. There are lots of white women.
We're talking about adverts, and how many times do you look at a TV advert and you think there's not a single white person on it? And actually it is. It's something that's happened because, I believe, of the woke liberati that goes on inside, you know, this sort of like in the arty-farty world. You know, when it comes to, you know, northern towns like Runcorn that I represent, you know, I mean, it's just not representative of the rest of the country. Might be fine inside the M25, but it's definitely not representative of the rest of the country. And actually, you know what, people, I'm hearing this more and more, people notice and people will switch off.
Now, there is some advertising roles for white men in Britain, and that, of course, is as sexual predators on public transport, sexually unwantingly staring at women of colour.
The man in the grey suit is staring at you. Would you report it? It's him again. You can feel his breath. Would you report it? Is that his bag? He's not carrying one. 1 second, 2 seconds. Would you report it? He finds an excuse to lean into you. Would you report it? He pushes his groin right into you. 90% of unwanted sexual behaviour on public transport goes unreported. You can report anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. Report it to stop it.
Now, there's plenty of other adverts that air in Britain which show a white man harassing a woman of colour, even though, well, what you tend to see more reported in the real world is a recent, illegal migrant harassing a white woman, or even worse, a child, which is, of course, what happened in Epping. A 14-year-old girl was sexually assaulted by an illegal migrant from Ethiopia, Haddash Kabuti. He was convicted, and after he served his sentence, was going to be deported. But he was released, can you believe it or not, from prison due to an administrative error. And he was confused about why he was being released. He was still in his prison clothes. He boarded a train to London, and despite CCTV under every corner in London, it took authorities 48 hours to recapture him. though Keir Starmer said he was really mad and promised there'd be a full investigation. I don't blame British patriots who are alleging a conspiracy that this was somehow a deliberate act. I mean, how the hell does this happen? I mean, what's next? Are they going to accidentally release Axel Rudapakabana, the Southport triple stabber of little girls? Now, Keir Starmer, is he going to say that, oh, this wouldn't have happened if you had digital ID, even though I don't think the the illegal migrants coming across the channel are going to be carrying digital ID? Well, Keir Starmer says that that will thwart illegal migrants being employed, even though there's already this black market employment in London, where the estimates of illegals who are living and working there has been estimated to be in the millions. There was massive protests against digital ID back on the 18th of October.
Please say no to digital ID. 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 Please say no to digital ID.
This is WilmsFront, brought to you by the Unshackled.net.
And that's it for the first WilmsFront Snapshot news program. I hope you enjoyed it and enjoyed me returning to my snarkiness and sarcasm that you all enjoyed from Tim's news explosion, and how I've cut my style that I've developed over various Unshackled production shows. With the YouTube comments, I don't think a lot of them are coming through because there's people having a conversation where I can't see all of them. I don't have an ability with, I'm using OBS for this because Restream doesn't allow all these videos, so I can't put the comments up on the screen. Now, I will let you know when my next WilmsFront featured interview program is. There was a massive reaction discussed at my last WilmsFront program when I interviewed John Adams, who released the ABC 1975 pedophile broadcast that Richard Neville platformed these three pedophiles on the ABC radio. I published a full report on that scandalous tape on the Unshackled.net and embedded the interview. So certainly, it's been shared and viewed countless times. Like I said, there's been a massive reaction to it, mainly one of disgust and outrage. Though the ABC tonight on Four Corners, I'm not sure if I don't think it's being put to air directly to counter this 1975 pro-pedophile broadcast, but ABC Four Corners is airing an expose exposing just how deeply pedophiles have infiltrated our childcare system and are raping children. It is absolutely shocking. I've said for so long, do not send your children to childcare. This will keep happening no matter the regulation, and that it's a whole institution that is wrong. So I'll be watching that. afterwards. Again, only watch this ABC Four Corners episode if you can stomach it. The same with the 1975 pedophile broadcast. Only listen to it if you can stomach it. But this is evil. This is what has been happening to children and is still happening to children. I can't imagine just how horrific it is for those children to recover from that. It's just horrific. Now, I will see you all next Monday for another WilmsFront Snapshot news program. I will aim to cut all these up into snapshot segments. So see you all again back 8:30 p.m. Melbourne time on the WilmsFront channels. And now remember to like, comment, and share. And also follow myself and the Unshackled on social media, Substack, Gab, Facebook, X, to keep up to date with the latest Unshackled articles and upcoming Unshackled productions. You can also support us financially at Substack and over at theunshackled.net/membership. Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Good night.
Thanks for tuning in to WilmsFront. Visit timwilms.com to view the archive of episodes. And keep visiting theunshackled.net to view all our shows. And to keep up with the latest real news and analysis.